welcome back to my channel. So today I am back with another video, and this time we're going to be doing a really pretty set of colorful nails, and it will be all acrylic, no polish. So I've already pushed back the cuticles, and now I'm just going in with a 180 sanding band to remove the shine from the natural nail. Remember that when you're doing this, we're literally just removing the shine, and that line that you see on her nails is from her just ripping off her last set. So make sure that you tell your clients that you recommend them do a soak off and not just tear their nails off, because when they just remove their nails by themselves, they are just ripping away layers of their natural nail and it thins out their nails. So again, we're just removing the shine from the natural nail, and then after this we're going to go in and just apply the nail tips. Again, this is a 180 sanding band. Alrighty, so now I'm just going to be applying the nail tips, and honestly I have no idea what the actual brand of the nail tips is. On the little bag it always just say natural and then it has the number on them, so I'm sorry about that, but they are just a little bit longer than the ones that I usually use. They're also a bit thinner, and they curve a little bit more, or a lot more actually, but I like them because of the length. But as always, I'm using my KDS glue to apply the nail tips. We just apply it on the tip and then just place the nail or the nail tip on their nail bed and just hold it for a few seconds until it dries. And also make sure that when you're applying the nail tips that you're holding your client's finger really straight, and also that they're sitting like directly in front of you and facing you, because if not, their nail, as you can see with her hand was turned a little bit to the side, so I was having a little bit of a hard time. And this nail right here actually is going to be glued on crooked on accident, just because again her nail is leaning to the side, so I wasn't able to like straighten her hand out, and she did catch it, so she was able to tell me, and you will see me come back and just remove the nail tip. To remove it, I'm going to be using just a small cotton ball, and I'm going to soak it in, or just soak it in acetone and place it on the nail and just soak it off. It soaks off really easily, especially because these nail tips are a lot thinner. But remember that the most important thing about applying nail tips is making sure that the nail tip fits on the nail perfectly from sidewall to sidewall. You don't want it too big or too small. You literally want it to fit from sidewall to sidewall. I cannot stress that enough, but if the tip is too small, it will eventually lift or break. And if it's too big, it's just going to lift up from the side. So make sure that, again, it fits from sidewall to sidewall. Alrighty, so now I'm going to go in with the tip cutter and just cut that nail down. I'm going to again get a little cotton ball with acetone, put the clip over it, and just let it soak while I do the rest of the nails. So next we're just going to go in with the straight edge nail clipper, and I'm just trimming down the sides of the nails because she do want them coffin. And one thing that I can say about these nail tips, that since they're a lot thinner, they're a little bit more flimsy. So when I'm filing, it does give me a little bit more of a hard time, and I'm not able to get that perfect shape just because they're so flimsy. So usually I do a lot of the shaping whenever I come back to reshape the nails after we apply the acrylic. But make sure that when you're filing these nails that you hold them a little bit, that way they don't just wobble all over the place. And it's not super bad, but it is a bit more, or a lot more than the other nail tips that I use. But as always, when we're doing a coffin shape, we file the sides at a 45-degree angle, and then filing the free edge at a 90-degree angle to make sure that it's super straight. And then of course, just filing the middle of the nail where the natural nail and the tip meets, just to blend that tip in, and it makes the nail look a lot more natural when you're applying when you apply the acrylic. But again, 45-degree angles on the side and 90-degree at the free edge. Make sure that when you're filing the free edge, it's exactly a 90-degree angle, because if not, your tip could look a little bit more rounded and not as squared. Alrighty, so now I'm going to go ahead and fix this nail. So I'm just filing away any of that residue left on the nail. And then we're going to go ahead and just replace it for a new nail tip, making sure that it's on there really straight. She was having to tell me if I needed to scoot it over just a little bit, just because she said that this finger has a mind of its own, so it leans over to one side a little bit more. But after this, we're just going to go ahead and shape this nail up as well as the other hand. And also, as always, I'm using a 100 nail file. As you can see, I did switch over to these nail files, but honestly, I feel like the black ones that I used to use are a little bit more coarse. So the new package that I bought of nail files are going to be black, but they should be the same. But again, these just feel like they're not as coarse, so it takes me a little bit more when I'm filing. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and just dust the nail off, and we're going to start the acrylic application. As always, I'm going to be using my Mia Secret acrylic system in the color Cover Rose Clear, and then I'm also going to be using a lot of the colored acrylics as well as some from Nail Supply Glamour. And then for my brush, I'm going to be using my Alpha brush in a number 10. As you guys know, they have the best brushes and I absolutely love them. The reason why this one is giving me a little bit of a harder time to work with is just because I left it in the dappen dish when I was cleaning it off. I left it in there and I forgot about it. So the hair bristles are giving me a little bit of a harder time to stay together. But I do have a new one coming on the way, and I've never had this issue. But again, it was just because I left it in there for a little bit too long, and that was since I got the brush. So That's why this looks like that. But anyways, on the pinky, we're just going to be doing the clear acrylic. The reason why I'm using the clear and not the pink is just because I already had the clear out. And on this pinky, it's just going to be a full nail of bling, so I'm not going to do the colored acrylic on this one. But the rest of the nails will be colored acrylic and the rose, cover rose. So as always, we're just making sure that, of course, if we need to add more acrylic on the nail, then we're going to do that. That way we don't have, you know, a nail that's too thin and then it breaks off. But for the most part, I always do the 4-ball method, and then again, if I need to add more, then that's fine too. So now we're just going to go in with the colored acrylics, and I'm just going to place the colors on the tip and then dragging them up towards the top. They don't have to be neat at all, just really random. Whatever colors you want to do is fine. So for this one, I just used that pink one and the orange. Both of those are by Nail Supply Glamour, and then I believe the rest are going to be by Mia's Secret, and I'll be sure to leave the link in the description as well as the promo codes to that. So again, as you can see, I'm just placing the colors going vertically from the nail tip up, and I'm not doing them too high up because I am going to come back in with the cover rose. And each nail can be different. You can add as many colors as you want. It can just be 2 colors, 3 colors, whatever you want, but I'm just going to do a mixture of different ones. I'm not going in a certain pattern, just literally whatever I pick up first. Alrighty, so now I'm going to go in with the Mia Secret Cover Rose. But if you guys notice, I don't know if anyone noticed, but I did forget to apply the primer. So thankfully, I was able to catch it here to where I've only done like a nail and a half as far as like on the natural nail. So I am going to go ahead and stop and apply the primer. I couldn't remember if I had applied it or not, but if this happens to you and you forget and you can't remember if you did or not, just go ahead and apply it again just to be safe. But usually whenever you like prep the nail really good, you shouldn't have any lifting, but hopefully I don't get any lifting on this one or the pinky. I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed, but usually I have no issues with that. So again, we just went ahead and applied the primer, and then I'm just finishing off this nail. Since it is going to be more of an ombre look, I want to make sure that I'm not brushing the acrylic all the way down towards the tip, just right in the middle to where those colors blend. And then also, of course, when we're using colored acrylic, we have to go back in with the clear to encapsulate all of the colors together. That way, whenever we come back in to file the nails, we're not going to be filing away any of the colored acrylic. Trust me, I've had a lot of people asking me about this. They're like, hey, you know, after I do the colored acrylic, why when I file, like, it looks really patchy and I'm filing away the color? Well, that's why, because you have to go in and apply a coat of clear or the clear acrylic over your colored acrylics. Alrighty, so now we're going to go ahead and do the same thing on this nail. So same thing, we apply that bead right in the middle where the natural nail and the tip meets, brushing it down towards the colors. Remember, you don't want to brush it down too far down because then you're going to take away from those beautiful bright colors at the tip. And then of course, cleaning around the cuticle area. You don't want any product on there, so as soon as you see any product on the skin, make sure that you wipe it off immediately. I'm going to go ahead and place another bead right there in the middle just because it still look a little bit too sheer where the two colors or where all of the colors blend. And then I'm going to come back in with the clear. So remember, you want to make sure that you come back in and encapsulate the colored acrylics with your clear, no matter if you're just doing all pink, all green, all purple, or whatever. You have to come back in and encapsulate any colored acrylic with the clear. So now we're going to go ahead and basically do the same thing on the rest of the nails. Remember that when we're doing the colors on the tips, we're just literally doing like a tiny bead and then just dragging it up the nail. So make sure that you don't get a lot because you don't want the nails to be super thick. So literally just a tiny bead and then you just drag it up, really plain and simple. And again, they don't have to be, you know, in a certain pattern. Literally just place it on the nail and drag it. And the most important thing is just making sure that you're not applying the acrylic super thick, because if not, it's going to be really lumpy. And then of course you could always just do all of the tips first and then come back and do all of the cover rows at the back and then all of the clear. Whatever you feel comfortable doing or whatever you feel like is the fastest for you is fine. But as you can see, I kind of alternate. First I did the 2 nails and then I went back and did the pink. For this one I'm just doing it all at once. So whatever you feel comfortable doing is fine. Okay, so we're done with the first hand, so now we're going to switch over to the other hand, and we're going to do the exact same thing. On the pinky again, we're just going to go ahead and do the clear acrylic because we're going to come back in and do a full nail of bling. And then on the other nails, we're going to go ahead and do, I don't even know if it would be considered an ombre. I guess I'm going to call it a rainbow ombre because that's what it looks like. But again, we're just doing the clear acrylic on this one. Of course, we do the first bead right in the middle of the nail where the natural nail and the tip meets. We do the second one right below that one, third one closer to the cuticle area, or of course if you need to apply it somewhere else, that's fine as well. But as you can see, when I'm working, I'm steady like turning the nail over to the side, and that's just me looking at the nail to determine where I need to add more acrylic. Of course, if I added another one closer to the tip, it's because my tip was still a bit thin, so you just add wherever you need it. So like I always say, you don't have to stick to a certain method. Just watch what you're doing and you'll know where to add more product. So I'm going to go ahead and finish off this hand. Again, we're going to go ahead and do the colors on the tip and then the cover rows at the back, and then encapsulate them with the clear. So we're going to go ahead and finish this off, and I will be back. Alrighty, so we're just finishing up this hand, and as you've seen, I did all of the tips first and then I came back in with the cover rose and the clear. So again, whatever works for you best. So now we're going to go in with that same 100 nail file, and we're just going to be reshaping the nails. As you can see, we still have a pretty nice shape, but like I said at the beginning, it is a little bit harder for me to shape the nails at the beginning just because they're a bit flimsy. So when I'm filing or reshaping the nails here, I do, put my all into it to make sure that I have that perfect shape that I want. But same thing, filing the sides at a 45-degree angle and the free edge at a 90-degree angle, and this is a 100 nail file. So next, we're going to go in with the fine drill bit to file around the cuticle area as well as the rest of the nail. So as always, we focus around that cuticle area first, going from the right side over to the left side, just going back and forth until you're able to see where the cuticle is, where the natural nail is, and where the acrylic is. That way you know you have no lifting. And then also sometimes you might have to file the sides of the nails or even the bottom of the nail just because you still have rough edges, and that's not all the time, that's just sometimes. So sometimes you'll see me filing right underneath the free edge, but for the most part I always focus around that cuticle area to make sure that we have no lifting, and of course to just make the nail look really flawless, because you don't want any rough edges around the cuticle area. But again, this is a fine drill bit by McCard. As always, I will be sure to leave the link down in the description so you guys can go check them out. So now we're going to go in with the buffer, and remember, this is just going to get rid of any of the scratches left on the nail from the e-file or the hand file. So we want to make sure that we buff really good, because a lot of the time if you don't, you will see those scratches through your polish or even your top coat. So again, we're just buffing the nails really good, and then after this we're just going to dust them off and wipe them off with an alcohol wipe. Alrighty, so I'm just wiping off the nails with an alcohol wipe, or of course you could have your client go wash their hands, whatever works for you best. And I'm just going to give you a closer look at what the nails look like after we finish everything and before we do the top coat. So as you can see, they look really pretty, even if I would have just left them matte. But anyways, now we're going to go in with the silver holographic color, which is the one that I always use before I apply my bling. So I'm going to go ahead and do this on both of the pinkies. And then of course, I'm going to be using my SS6 and SS12 for my bling, my Mia Secret Gel Resin, my wax pencil, and the Mia Secret Gel Resin activator. So I'm applying the Mia Secret Gel Resin. We're going to go ahead and with the wax pencil, pick up the bling. And then as always, I start around the cuticle area, working my way around the perimeter of the nail and just filling in the rest of the nail as I go. Remember that when you're doing this, it's like a little puzzle. You're literally just filling in the gaps with the two different sizes. Honestly, I feel like when people use just one size, it looks a bit weird. So that's why I always like to use either just two sizes or even just different, 3 different sizes for whatever you feel comfortable using. But I always just do the SS6 and SS12. Of course, just go back in and add more glue as you need it. But again, we're using the Mia Secret Gel Resin as well as the activator at the end. And the activator just helps the glue dry a lot faster. Since it is a gel resin, it is a little bit on the thicker side, which means it's going to take a bit longer to dry. But with the activator, it's like it literally freezes the glue into place. So I do highly recommend it if you're using the Mia Secret Gel Resin. Alrighty, so after I sealed the perimeter with that same glue, I'm going to go ahead and spray the nail with the activator. And after that, we're going to go ahead and apply the top coat. And as always, I'm using the IBD gel top coat. And we're going to go ahead and apply that on all of the nails and curing this for 60 seconds. Alrighty, y'all, so here is the final look. Like, honestly, this has been one of my favorite sets that I've done in a while. It turned out really, really pretty, really nice and bright, and that shape is just everything. So as always, I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at GetNail32, and I'll see you guys next time.